I want to salute you, homie, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
I got one life to live out my dreams, and I'm giving this thing all I got. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I represent the culture.
Right now, you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty. Yeah!
All right, Alfred Teleferro, Mr. Teleferro TV. How's everybody doing? All right, let's talk Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman recently wrote a letter to the Players Tribune, pretty much highlighting the inconsistencies in how Roger Goodell in the NFL, Roger Goodell, who's the commissioner, how he's been handling a lot of the situations that have transpired recently, including domestic violence, touchdown celebrations. And before I read you a lot of this letter, I want to say this. I agree with Richard Sherman on most of what he said. All right? There are a lot of inconsistencies in the NFL, and I want to make you think. This is what I do with my blog. I motivate and I make you think. I want you to think about some of these things that I'm saying. And I do believe there are a lot of inconsistencies in the NFL, and I am pissed. And people talking about ratings being down. Well, the product is down. There are not a lot of superstars. It's hard to grow superstars because every time they want to celebrate, say what they want to say in press conferences, they're hit with a new fine or a new penalty. And then when it comes down to the domestic disputes, whether it's the Ray Rices of the world, who I think should be banned for life, we ain't condoning men hitting women where I'm from. Greg Hardy, who literally reportedly threw his woman on a bed full of guns and threatened her life, all right, was able to come back to the NFL. What did he serve out? 8, 12 games? What? It wasn't enough. It damn sure wasn't enough. And I get it's hard to try to be the police for a legal system that's constantly letting us down. But it's got to be something better. There cannot be condonance. One minute I'm like, we can't condone domestic violence. Then the next minute I'm like, well, I get why these players are so sick, because we try to turn off NFL players. They're literally, if you look at a lineman, their job is to do what? An offensive or defensive line is to protect, to try to get through. It's to literally bang with another guy for an hour straight in 5 out of 7 days a week, or sometimes 6 out of 7 days a week in practice. All right? Their job is to literally bang with somebody in practice, and we think it's just going to be easy for them to turn this off when they get to the house. So some of this stuff, I get why we've gotten to this point. I get it. The NFL is a business. They provide opportunities. That's not their problem. But they have to understand that that is some of the reason why a lot of these domestic violence situations are happening. And the only way to police it is threatening the NFL player with, if you're caught in a scandal like this, if we can prove that you did do something, you got to go. Now, then we get into the whole conversation of what if a woman lies? It's just so much. And I get why this is hard for the NFL. But let's read some of Richard Sherman's letter, all right? Did you see what Andrew Hopkins did after he scored against the Patriots recently? It was one of the best post-touchdown moves I've seen in a while. He caught a pass in the corner of the end zone to tie the game, and then promptly placed the ball on the ground, stood up straight like a soldier, and marched away like a robot. I don't mean he celebrated by doing the robot dance. He literally just walked away like a robot. I thought it was hilarious because, as the saying goes, in jest there is truth. This is what the NFL wants, right? It wants players who score a touchdown to hand the ball to the official and walk away, to act like they've been there before, which is really just another example of the inconsistency and, to a degree, the hypocrisy of the NFL. Antonio Brown can't twerk after a touchdown because it's sexually suggestive. But every Sunday on most sidelines, there are rows of cheerleaders doing the same type of moves to entertain the crowd. The NFL doesn't want players to do anything that might set a bad example for the kids in the audience, such as showboat or celebrate excessively, yet it features beer ads in all of its stadiums and in almost every commercial break. Josh Norman can't shoot in an imaginary bow and arrow after a big pick because the NFL says it depicts a violent act. Meanwhile, the name of the team he plays for depicts Native Americans in a way that many people consider offensive. All this is hardly surprising. The NFL is inconsistent in a lot of what it does. I mean, most people can't even tell you what a catch is in our league. The rule has gotten so convoluted and confusing that it barely makes sense anymore. Even the guys who get paid to make the calls have difficulty applying it. The fact that something as simple as calling a catch has become so complicated doesn't exactly inspire confidence in the league's ability to deal with more consequential issues. Sure enough, in just the past couple weeks, the NFL has been faced with such Serious problem. Its first high-profile domestic violence case since Ray Rice. If you remember, after the Ray Rice incident, how the NFL admitted it had made a crucial mistake in how it was handled. The league made changes to its domestic violence policy in an effort to avoid repeating its mistakes. The NFL declared that any player in violation of its personal conduct policy as it pertains to domestic violence would be subject to a 6-game suspension. The league says one thing, like how seriously it takes domestic violence, but when it comes to an act, it does another. But then, when Giants kicker Josh Brown was recently found to be in violation of that policy, the NFL suspended him for just 1 game. See, what some people didn't notice about the new personal conduct policy was that within the policy's language was that the stipulation that the NFL reserved the right to impose a longer or shorter suspension depending on the circumstances of the incident. So basically, there is no real policy. The NFL can do whatever it wants. I do sympathize with the NFL to an extent. Issues such as domestic violence are difficult to legislate. No 2 cases are the same, which can make applying discipline tricky. We struggle in our society as a whole with many of the same issues, so to ask anything more of the NFL is probably unfair. But while it is difficult to apply discipline in cases of domestic violence, it is impossible to do so when there is no clear policy or standard, when the league does not have. The reality is that the league says there is no place for domestic violence in the NFL. Its actions in the most recent cases, however, simply haven't reflected that. This is just another reason why players don't have a lot of trust in the league. The league says one thing, like how seriously it takes domestic violence, but when it comes time to act, it does another. The real problem within the NFL is the lack of a system of checks and balances. The commissioner simply has too much power. I think if the NFL had it its way, we would all be robots. We will all be perfect human beings off the field so that the league would never have to deal with another PR nightmare and everybody would smile and nod and hand the ball over to the official after a touchdown or a big play. The funny thing is, if the NFL did have it its way, we would lose what makes our game so great. We would lose what draws fans to the sport. We play a game. Part of the joy of watching the game is seeing the emotion on display, seeing that same passion. If guys didn't play with passion and just went out there and went through the motions, I think people would stop watching. We're already seeing a bit of that. TV ratings are down. I think we can point to the NFL legislating the emotion out of the game as a contributing factor. The NFL is enforcing a policy against celebration, against joy, against fun. It's something I know a lot of players are frustrated with, and it appears that fans may be as well. Players are being told to act like they've been there by a group of people who've never been there themselves. Now, the league is reaping what it has sown. Part of the problem is that the players are being told to act like they've been there before by a group of people who have never been there themselves. Wow. Roger Goodell, chief among them. I think one of the things that needs to happen is for Roger Goodell to give up some of his power. He's not an all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful being. He's human. I think he needs help dealing with the issues facing the league, from unsportsmanlike conduct to domestic violence. Neutral arbitration would solve a lot of the NFL's issues if there was a third-party arbitrator, someone with no skin in the game and no shield to protect, making decisions on fines and suspensions. I think you see a greater degree of objectivity. There should be a committee of former players and coaches to sort through on-field actions and panels of experts for off-field issues. The real problem with the NFL, again, is a lack of system of checks and balances. The commissioner simply has too much power. At the end of the day, fans don't want to watch robots. They want to watch players having fun and showing emotion. I'm with them. I think what they want also is for the league to be consistent in its discipline, to be transparent, to do what it says it's going to do, and to use a little common sense. I don't think that's too much to ask. Right, that's the end of Richard Sherman. Whew, a lot to break down in the midst of what he said. It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. All right, first things first. When Richard Sherman talks about the emotion aspect of the game is gone, I think he's 100% right. 100% right. You see, as somebody who's from Memphis, Tennessee, and been into basketball all my life, Memphis is a basketball town. Even though, shout out to the U of M Tigers football team, been coming on a lot more as of late. With that being said, the Tigers, basketball town. Memphis, basketball town. When I got to the University of Tennessee here in Knoxville and realized just how big college football was, it changed my life. With that being said, I'm a college football fan. NFL on Sundays, I'll get to it when I can. Again, I'm a sports fanatic, but it's no longer a must-see thing for me. College football Saturdays are a must-see thing for me now. You want to know why I believe that? A couple reasons. I believe the fact that we're around the players, we know them personally, we get to see more of them. You know, as college students, we see more of them. We feel tied in the community. I believe these are reasons why we get more emotionally invested. Well, with the NFL, I don't think I feel tied to the players anymore. I don't feel like these guys come from the same place anymore. Not because they don't come from the same place, because the facts show these guys are from the hoods of African-American communities for the most part. Those are the facts. But also, it's because NFLs have, like Richard Sherman called it, made these guys into robots. I don't feel like it's a fun thing to do to watch NFL games anymore like I used to. I really don't. And one thing is, the NFL is not growing a lot of stars. You want to know why they're not growing a lot of stars? The talent is still there. The Odell Beckham, it's talent like that, not maybe on his standard, but there's great talent in Antonio Browns of the world. Antonio Brown should be a superstar in NFL from being known as a superstar because his talent has been like that last 3 or 4 years, period. All right? With that being said, the emotion of the game is gone. A lot of reasons. Randy Moss was a great player. T.O. were great, 2 of the all-time greats. Chad Johnson was a great wide receiver. But we like that emotion. We like that. Now, all these players are just getting fined for doing the simple things. And that Josh Norman hypocrisy is something that needs to be talked about a little bit more. He literally did the little fake bow and arrow thing, and he literally plays for the Washington Redskins. Redskins is a name deemed to be very offensive to Native Americans, but they're still a team. Antonio Brown, he twerked a little bit. He threw a little butt, all right? Cool. It is what it is. But you pay cheerleaders on the sidelines to shake and do that for 2 hours, 3 hours on Sundays? But that's a fine. Because you want the right type of person doing it. You want it to be in a controlled setting. Very hypocritical stuff on the league. And last but not least, domestic violence. Listen, man, we got to set that precedent that if you hit a woman and you've been convicted or something has happened to you in the law, in the court systems, man, look, you cannot be allowed to play football. It just sets a bad precedent, all right? And I ain't talking just about Josh Brown because he was a white athlete. I think Ray Rice should be banned from the NFL. Definitely think Greg Hardy should be banned from the NFL because he showed no compassion at all. No compassion at all. And I think Josh Brown should be banned from the NFL, the New York Giants kicker. I think it all should be taking place. With that being said, I do too understand how hard of a job it is for Roger Goodell. But like Richard Sherman, I agree that somebody has to be put in place to help this man out because the system that have been put in place has just watered the game down. People complaining saying the protests are the reason why the NFL ratings are down. Bullshit. That ain't got nothing to do with why the ratings are down. The reason why the ratings are down because the game isn't exciting anymore as it used to be in the past. There aren't as many stars in the NFL like it used to be in the past. And this has been pretty much because of the NFL. I love me some Calvin Johnson. All right? Retired. I love me some Andre Johnson. I even, I love a lot of wide receivers in the league. But just because Calvin Johnson and Andre Johnson could conduct themselves in a respectable sense, even scoring touchdowns, doesn't mean I like a Odell Beckham any less. All right? I love Odell Beckham too. And because he's a little sassy with his celebrations, he's in love with a goalpost or a net, that don't mean I don't like him any much less he brings flavor to the game. Why do you think Odell Beckham is one of the most popular players in the league? Because he brings flavor to the game. I bet your butt this, a woman who knows nothing about football, who's going to sit down with her husband and watch a game, I guarantee you she'd rather sit down and watch that Cowboys New York Giants game over the Patriots and I don't know, maybe a Denver Broncos game. Why? Because she knows about the Cowboys and Dez Bryant. She knows Dez Bryant, and she probably knows Odell Beckham. All right? Because Odell Beckham and Dez Bryant are two of the most outspoken wide receivers. NFL, you guys market yourselves off wide receivers that are outspoken. But now when they do certain things you don't want to stand behind, Odell Beckham doesn't have anything wrong with him. He ain't done nothing wrong since he's been in the league. He just likes to have fun. What's wrong with that? Y'all market off that. Y'all sell tickets off that. Y'all sell jerseys off that. I just don't get it. They want us to their proper athlete. When in all due respect, it is hard to score a touchdown. Roger Goodell damn sure ain't never did it. I ain't never did it. But I can't imagine this. Scoring a touchdown is a huge accomplishment, whether you do it one time or 180 times. A huge accomplishment. And every one of those touchdowns deserve their moment of celebration in the end zone. Just don't get it. Just don't get a lot of it. From top to bottom, it just seems like the Players Association for the NFL needs to step up and kind of mandate things like how and have that relationship like the National Basketball Association, Players Association, and the NBA itself. They have a really good relationship, and players are getting paid money. All right, being able to market themselves, get shoes. Even a B player is able to get shoes and more endorsements now. All right. Because the NFL, because you don't get it. These guys wear helmets for 60 minutes. You can't market that. All the marketing has to come in the touchdowns. They got to be able to show their face and show who they are then. In the big sacks, they got to show their personality then. We don't see their emotion like we do in other sports because they wear helmets all day. We're just limited to seeing a number. And for us experts who understand the game, we know the players, but they can't market to that random person in a household that knows nothing about football unless they're doing celebrations and all that, because emotion is everything. One thing I learned at ESPN, when I got to ESPN, I thought a highlight was about, hey, let me show the 5 best plays. Let me show Odell Beckham scoring 3 touchdowns. Let me show Eli Manning getting picked off a couple times. And let me show this game-winning touchdown or field goal. It is not about that. A highlight, I guarantee you, a highlight is all about, well, after that interception by Eli Manning, what did he do? Did he put his head in his hands? Did he go yell at the coaching staff? Did Odell Beckham go kiss a goal net after he scored? That's what you make your money at, that emotion. That's why we play the game, for the emotion. If this is the case, we can go play video games to get more emotion out of players nowadays. All right? I know this is pretty extensive, but this Teleferro speaking that truth, speaking that real. All right, this is why my subscribers love me, because I'm going to keep it 100% honest on stuff. I ain't backing down to nobody. All right, Alfred Teleferro, Mr. Teleferro TV, please comment on this blog. Please give me your responses on this blog. I know it was a lot of information, all right? Comment your responses on this blog. Talk to me in my comment box below. I go by the name of Alfred Teleferro. Thank you for the time, love, and support. Salute. I'm out. Hey, first and foremost, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love if you watch other videos while you're on my YouTube channel. Now, while you're here, people ask me all the time, how can you support Mr. Teleferro? Well, if you want to support me in my future endeavors, the first thing I want you to do is subscribe to my channel. If you subscribe to my channel, you get all my content first. Your subscribe goes a long way. I get to understand my demographics, understand who support me, who got something out this video. So first things first, a subscribe will go a long ways. Next, if you really rock with me, donate $1 to my GoFundMe. I have a GoFundMe link in the description. If you really want to support me, just $1. Showing me that $1 and some good wishes will go a long way. If you want to support me and you want to help me with my travels, I got a lot of things coming up, but I got to get them travel fees there. I got to find a way to get there, so that can help me financially if you really want to go there. Also, a word of encouragement. Thank you. Whatever it is, talk to me in my comment box below. Comment on this video, like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do this video. I got to thank you for your time. I don't take it for granted. My name is Mr. Teleferro. Now, if you subscribe, help, donate, do whatever, you can see more videos like this, more new exclusive content. I got a lot on the way. Trust me. Thank you. It's Mr. Teleferro.com.